entry icon is one of two icons where new sales transactions begin. The other is the shipments icon, which is discussed later. Earlier, the order entry icon was discussed from the standpoint of establishing existing orders. Because of this, many of the fields on this window have already been discussed. However, let's return to the order entry icon and cover all the fields in detail. When creating a new order, the word New within the order number field indicates that the system accesses the next sequential order number from within OE Setup. For new documents, leave this field so the system increments sequentially. Then, enter or select a customer number. If a customer is entered that does not exist within accounts receivable, the order can still continue if the Allow Non-Existent Customers option is selected, just as long as the customer is added before attempting to post the invoice batch within accounts receivable. If a user has the appropriate rights, customers can be added right now by selecting the New button. This starts the Customers window found within Accounts Receivable, as if it were being selected directly from within that module. The blue triangle here can be clicked to access the customer's address and contact information. Although changes can be made on this window, the changes entered do not update the customer's profile in Accounts Receivable. Changes made on this window are referenced only for this order. If permanent changes need to be made, make them within Accounts Receivable. If credit checking is being tracked for the customer, click the checkmark button to have the system perform a pre-credit check on the customer prior to attempting to enter the order or invoice. This button can also be selected at any time during the entry process to verify the customer's credit status as of that moment. If the customer is not over their credit limit, the system responds with a Pass Credit Check message. If they are over their limit, or if any details entered on this order takes them over their limit, then the system displays their current credit status and their outstanding balance. A template code can be entered to have the system default to selected fields, those fields discussed earlier as being available on a template. For example, a template code can default to a specific order type or automatically assign text in the description and reference fields. Templates can also be used to override default customer settings, such as discount settings that were assigned with the customer in Accounts Receivable. However, selected customer settings on a template only take precedence if it is selected before the customer number. Otherwise, the customer settings appear as the default for those fields that exist on both. Optionally enter a purchase order number to reference against this sales order if necessary. The system defaults to the date Accpac was started for the order date. This date, of course, can be any date, past or future. Then assign a default location code. The location code entered here appears as the default when entering detail lines in the lower section of this window. The system may default to a location code if one was entered for the customer, or if one was entered with a template code, if a template code is used. An order can be created for one of these four order types. Active indicates that the order is ready to go now. It does not necessarily indicate the order is to be immediately shipped or invoiced, just that the order is active. Select Future if a customer wants their items shipped on a future date. Future orders become active automatically when day-end processing is performed on the date entered for the order date. A standing order is like a recurring order. If a customer says they want to receive selected items every week or every month, indicate standing here. Active orders can periodically be generated from a standing order while still keeping the standing order available on the system for the next occurrence. A quote indicates that the customer has an interest in purchasing selected items but has not yet committed. When selecting a quote, the system displays an expiration date field. When or if the customer decides to accept the quote, simply recall the quote and change the status here to active. The From Multiple Quotes checkbox here allows you to create a single order from multiple separately posted quotes from the same customer. When selected, the blue up arrow displays the dialog box where the quotes to merge together can be entered or selected using the Finder. All detail lines for any quotes listed here are merged together onto one sales order. If more than one quote includes the same item, the item appears on separate detail lines. The Calculate Tax checkbox can be checked to have the system automatically calculate tax, or not, for the customer. Of course, the system only charges tax if both the customer and item is taxable, even if this is selected. The On Hold checkbox is where the order can be placed on hold, so no shipment or invoice can be posted. If the customer is on hold, the order is automatically placed on hold. However, the sales order can still be entered and posted. If the customer wants their items shipped to one of their alternate addresses, enter or select the code that represents their address here, assuming one or more ship-to addresses exist for the customer. A new ship-to location can be created on the fly, assuming the data entry clerk has the appropriate security rights, by clicking the New button. The blue up arrow can be used to inquire on the address to verify it is correct. The expected ship date defaults to the date entered in the order date field, but it can be changed. The date entered becomes the default date for individual detail lines in the lower portion of the window. The last fields within the invoice header section are the order description and reference information. Text entered here is for the order as a whole. Text can be entered for individual detail lines. The lower portion of the window is where item details are entered. Items can be entered using this container type interface where users cursor or tab across the columns to enter the data, or press the Zoom key, F9. The Zoom view displays all the fields on one window. Whether users prefer this view or the container view is an individual choice. Using the Zoom view, when a sales order is entered for, let's say, the fluorescent desk lamp, only the current item being worked on is visible. Even so, what is nice about this view is it only displays those fields that are accessible for the type of item being entered. Unavailable fields appear slightly grayed. Selecting the container type view, multiple detail lines can be observed in the rows of the container section, but all the fields appear identically, whether they are valid or not for the item type being entered. The system automatically skips the fields that are not valid, but they cannot be distinguished from valid fields by sight. There are two types of items that can be entered. An actual item to be sold, shown as item, either from inventory or a non-existent item if they are allowed. The second type of item is miscellaneous, indicating miscellaneous charge. Selecting item as the type, enter or select the item the customer wants to order. If the item being sold is a bill of material or kit item, specify the specific build number to be sold. Leave this field blank for non-bill of material or kit items. Once an item is selected, order entry displays the description of the item as well as defaults to several fields based on the item, customer, and template selected. Ronald Black is linked to the USA price list as defined within his profile. If he is to receive a different price from a different price list, it can be changed here. The system defaults to location 1, as defined up in the order header section. In the gray portion at the bottom of the window, the quantity details for this item appear, both for the selected location, location 1, and all other locations summarized together. The drill icon next to the quantity on sales order, purchase order, and committed quantity can be clicked to view the transactions where items are on sales orders or purchase orders. To view the quantity specifics of any of these other locations, click the Location Finder. If the item is out of stock at the default location, or if the location is to be changed for some reason, select a different location here, say the Portland location. The default location in the order header section remains at location 1 for additional ordered items. Therefore, different item details can be shipped from different locations, all in the same order. Separate orders do not need to be created to ship items from different locations. Next, enter or accept the expected ship date. The system defaults to the date specified in the header section. Then enter the quantity the customer wants to order. Entering a quantity, such as 5, the system prompts for the unit of measure. In other words, 5 what? 5 boxes? 5 dozen? Selecting the finder displays the different units of measure that have been defined for this item. Then either accept, enter, or select the weight unit of measure. As discussed in other modules, any of the field columns can be organized any way you like. For example, to rearrange the columns, simply click left and hold the title of the column and position it either left or right of its current position. The visual size of the field can also be changed or hidden altogether. Changes made to this container section are user-specific. So the next time the user accesses the function, the field layout appears the same as they left it. The system then displays the price by field and pricing unit of measure. The desk lamp is priced by quantity versus weight. Items priced by weight might be gravel or sand. Then the item price is shown. This price is specific for this customer and item combination based on several conditions. It can be a contract price, a price based on quantity purchased, the price associated within a specific date range, a price based on the customer's discount structure, or just the base price of the item for the particular currency. Selecting the unit price finder, the system displays the available discount prices available for the customer. Ronald Black is linked to the standard base price for this item. If he was a D-type customer, for example, his price would be $55.49. Ronald's default price can be changed if necessary. This does not change his overall status. Changing the price option there is a one-time change. The next field, Price Approval, determines if the price in the previous field is higher or lower than the allowed price for the item, assuming the Price Checks feature within inventory is turned on. If the price is within the price boundaries allowed, the word No appears, indicating that a price approval is not required for this item. If the word Yes appears, it indicates that the Price Checks option is selected and the price is outside the boundaries of what is acceptable, and an approval is necessary for the item to be sold for the specified price. When Yes is displayed, click the blue arrow and enter a user ID that has the appropriate user rights to accept the price outside the range. The next field is Quantity Shipped. If a sales order and a shipment are to be entered and posted at the same time, enter a quantity here that is equal or less than the quantity being ordered. Entering 5 indicates that all 5 ordered items become immediately shippable and none are back-ordered. By removing the quantity shipped, the system then calculates the backorder quantity of 5. Assuming the automatic backorder calculation option is selected within the order entry setup icon. If the backorder field is not automatically calculated and the amount shipped is less than the amount ordered, enter the quantity to be placed on backorder in this field. Otherwise, if this field is left 0, the system does not retain the sales order on the system and tracks any items not shipped as a lost sale. Continuing on, the next fields display the unit and extended weight of the item as well as the extended price. Then optionally indicate to calculate a line item discount. This discount is above and beyond any previous discounts that may have been factored into the price of the item. Discounts can be entered as either a percentage off or a flat amount. The system then displays the calculated discount amount and the extended amount again, factoring any discounts. The next field displays the category code assigned to the item when the item was added. Among other things, it determines the general ledger sale and cost of goods sold accounts to be used when the order is invoiced. Although the category can be changed, it is typically left at the default because most companies usually want to track purchases based on product types and must generate detailed financial statements on these amounts. If the category is changed, it's changed for this detail line only. Subsequent sales of the item revert back to the assigned category. The system then displays the cost of the item, the cost in unit of measure, and the extended cost. These fields can be populated only if the item is created using the user-specified costing method. Otherwise, the field displays the cost as calculated within inventory control. If the item has been identified as a serialized item, Yes appears here. Click the blue up arrow to enter any serial number information. Enter as many serial numbers as necessary, either to handle a one-to-one relationship or a one-to-many relationship. Serial numbers are only recorded at time of sale unless serialized inventory is in use.
Let's take a look at order entry.